Hey, what's up, guys? Good to be with you here again. Wanted to do a really quick video. I actually did a very similar video recently on my Football Manager channel, which you may or may not have seen before. I wanted to talk a little bit about the concept behind these Let's Play games, which is sort of what this channel is devoted to, right? So if you haven't noticed yet, I do usually 2 videos a day. One of them is of me playing one of these baseball simulators, Dynamite Baseball or NPIII at the moment, but things might change. And usually the second video is me talking about some sort of topic, generally connected to baseball, though not always. Now, I have read commentary from people on a lot of different places, but mostly on Reddit and Twitter, who tell me that nobody watches Let's Play videos anymore, and that if you're not one of the biggest content creators out there, you don't have any chance at creating an audience. Nobody's interested in this, and on and on and on. This is actually a pretty common sentiment. In fact, I have talked with other people before I created this channel who assured me that nobody in their right mind would want to watch anybody play any of these games, and nobody's interested in this stuff anymore, and there's just no market for it. I strongly disagree with that. Now, you know, because of my other videos, how I feel about the market for these games. I think that there's actually a big market out there for each of these games. I do. I think there's a market out there for games that are card and dice games. I think there's a huge market out there for games that are open source games, especially among people who are interested in figuring this stuff out. I also think that there's a market out there for the computer simulations that we play. In fact, when it comes to a game like OOTP, we know that there's a market. In fact, we know that there are certain content creators on YouTube who have been quite successful over the years. I mean, I don't mean to disparage anybody in the way that they want to play their game. They can do it the way that they want. But as far as I'm concerned, when I watch some OOTP creators, I get a little bit confused because I'm watching nothing but spreadsheets. They don't even play the game. They just play the spreadsheets. And then, okay, we're going to advance like a month or two and we'll see what the spreadsheet says now. That run really has me scratching my head, right? That's not the way that I play. But to each his own. Some people really like that. Some people really want to see that happen. Some people think that, oh, this is really what being a GM would be like, and so on and so forth. You know, I mean, it's fine to like one thing and it's fine to like another, but what I don't think is fine is to look at what's happening and to say that nobody's interested in this at all and nobody would ever watch this and that there's no market out there for it whatsoever. I don't agree with that. So there are things I've learned on my couple of months here on YouTube. I'm probably the wrong person to talk about this because I have so few subscribers. I mean, on this channel at the moment, there's a little bit under 100 subscribers. My Football Manager channel has about 160. However, I would counter that statement and say that, you know, the funny thing is that I have around 100 people subscribed to this channel, despite the fact that the games that I'm playing have like no real SEO optimization. There are not a whole bunch of people searching for Dynamite Baseball or for a Skeetersoft or NPIII anywhere. I know that I get a number of people picked up who are looking for either APBA or Strat-O-Matic, though it's probably not as big of a number as you would imagine, right? If I were going for like Minecraft instead, I imagine that there would be a lot more people like my children searching for Minecraft content than searching for like some dude playing, you know, like an old version of Strat-O-Matic or something like that, right? Makes sense, right? Having said that, though, there is, I believe, quite a bit of demand for this stuff. And I think that some of you who watch these videos kind of know what I'm talking about, right? So I think a lot about what my habits are as a viewer of this stuff, and I realize that the reason why I will watch videos on YouTube is usually because it's quiet. You can see I'm working from home, right? There's downtime, especially around lunchtime. There's no one for me to talk to. It's not so much fun talking to myself, right? Because like I know what I think about stuff, right? I can't bounce ideas off of myself so well, right? That's a little bit odd. And so because of that, I like to hear somebody else's voice. And so maybe I'll find somebody else who has a nice sounding voice who will talk about these games, play through a game, and hopefully it will happen in a relatively quick fashion so that I'm not sitting there watching this thing for my entire day, right? Sort of depends on the exact type of game that we're playing. You know, it depends upon what I expect from it, but it's nice to hear that voice. It's nice to have human communication. Similarly, as I've learned when I talk about topics like I'm talking about now, it's sort of like having, I don't know, you know, one of those AM type talk radio programs. Maybe I can't take in like viewer calls when I'm talking to you, but I can react to things that you say in the comments and we can have a little bit of a conversation and you can listen to this and maybe come up with some ideas of different things that you can do and different ways you can express yourself. There is a market out there for this sort of thing. And yes, there is a market out there for Let's Play content. And interestingly enough, on YouTube, what I've learned by observing others and what I know is true in the long term is that people will watch your content in the end, not because of the game that you're playing, but because of your personality. personality, which means that if you have a natural interest in whatever it is that you're playing, that's going to come out. People are going to notice that, and people will theoretically at least look favorably on that sort of thing. So that's sort of the idea that goes on behind this, right? The idea is to try to get the good part of your personality to come out and to talk with people about subjects that they may not be able to talk about anywhere else, right? A real good example, right? I was reading about this online just the other day while I was doing a couple searches, is normalization, right? If you want to play with teams from different eras, what is the best way to normalize? What is the worst way to normalize, right? What makes sense? What doesn't make sense? Well, there's no like one right answer, but there's a lot of discussion that can take place around this that would be really interesting to talk about. And I'm not aware of anybody else on YouTube who's doing this type of discussion, right? It's one thing you look at. You can look at other things revolving around certain games and the mechanics of games and how certain things work, right? This is kind of what I'm in the middle of doing right now, a little bit of a sneak peek for you. I have been doing a lot of deconstruction of national pastime, looking to see if I can figure out kind of what percentages Clifford Van Beek may have had in mind when he was creating the game, and trying to figure out a couple of things that you might not know about this game unless you take the whole game, put it into a bunch of spreadsheets and start running, very low-level analysis on it. There's a lot of really interesting stuff that happens here that I think a lot of people miss out on. And the reason why we miss out on it is just because we don't look, we don't know to look, and we just don't pay any attention to it, right? There's a lot of stuff to talk about. There are a lot of really good topics that we can talk about and that we really should. That's one of the nice things about having this channel, right? Now, we all do it our own way. We all do it a different way. If you yourself are interested in doing like a blog or in doing a YouTube channel or whatever, one thing to keep in mind is that you have to have something that sort of makes you unique. You have to have a different type of approach. Maybe you don't know what it is at the start, but over time, as you create more videos, you start to get a feel for, this is where my personality comes out. This is who I am. This is the way that, I want to reach out to the community and talk with people, right? Like I said, everyone does it a different way, right? I've watched a whole bunch of those stupid like YouTube guru videos, you see with like vidIQ or TubeBuddy or whatever, where they're like, oh, you got to do this thing, you got to do that thing, or like no one's going to watch you or whatever. I'm going to be honest with you, man. Yeah, you can do all that stuff. It's not always going to work, right? You can use the advice for thumbnails. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You need to know your audience in the end, right? And maybe you do want to have like certain colors that identify your channel. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're like, well, I'm just going to do something different every video. You can do that. Maybe you want to have certain things that come up in your title all the time, or maybe you don't. Maybe you want to experiment and see, maybe this will work, maybe that'll work, right? A lot of the advice that comes out is conventional wisdom, but if you follow the conventional wisdom, you're going to have a channel that looks like everybody else's channel, and it's going to be a little bit boring. It's a little bit more fun if we do things a little different, if we try to talk about topics people aren't talking about, or if we try to play games that people maybe have given up on. My personal opinion is that a lot of these games should be played more frequently, and I do still think that there's a market out there that is untapped. And I really believe that it's kind of incumbent upon you and me to try to do what we can to make it attractive so that younger people who are interested in this might not just wander over to like MLB The Show or maybe play OOTP and then forget about it, but maybe they too will be interested in questions about like normalization, about what makes a great team, about how games are developed. Is this a good idea? Is this a bad idea? About other topics like outs. Are outs important in baseball? We talk about runs a lot. What about outs? I would say outs are the real currency of baseball. All of these things are topics that we can cover as we move along and that I plan on talking about. But the truth is that if we don't come onto YouTube, if we don't talk about this stuff, and if we believe this hype that says that Let's Play videos are just completely dead, no one's ever going to want to watch it, guess what? No one's going to talk about it. Or people will go on message boards every once in a while, they'll talk about it, and then the thing will get buried under like 50 other posts, and next thing you know, it's completely gone. No one can find it again, and it's almost as if it didn't exist. So we're going to try to stop that from happening. We're going to keep pushing hard. Let's Play videos are not dead. If you're interested in doing it yourself, I recommend trying. Just go try, go start, see what happens. You improve things slowly as time goes on, and you start to realize, hey, I get more people who tune in if I do this than if I do that, and eventually you can get something built. That's what's happening. That's what's going on. Nobody wants to do this necessarily to get rich, right? There's this misunderstanding where people think that, oh, this person is doing YouTube, they're trying to become absolutely rich. The honest truth is that for those of us who do this, this is more a hobby, and it's a way for us to reach out to other people, right? If I wanted to get rich using this time doing something else, there are a lot of other things I could do, or a lot of other types of jobs and things I could do. There's no reason to conclude that spending a whole bunch of time playing, old baseball games on YouTube is somehow going to make you a wealthy person, right? That's not really what the incentive is. if you wanted to do that on YouTube, you'd probably do something like true crime or some other thing that gets a little bit more views. Anyway, I'm rambling now. That's just sort of my take on this stuff, my take on the idea that Let's Players are dead. They're not dead. They're perfectly healthy, and this channel is proof of that. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.